Hello everyone, welcome to this session. Our chapter is Balance of Nature, and we're still discussing about the food chain and the food web. So in our previous video, we saw the concept of these two, the food chain, also its meaning, and the food web, what is its meaning. So today, let's move on to the other part where we'll be talking about the diagrammatic representation of the food chain and the food web. So as we discussed before, the meaning of the food chain and the food web. So here we just see how the food web and the food chain they can be shown using the diagram. And here is the first thing about the food chain. Here are the two of the diagrams showing the food chain. The first one is this one. We said that the food chain is just a simple sequence of the consumption of the food, starting from the first here, that is this is the first stage or the primary consumer, then to the secondary consumers. So here we see that there is grass, then comes the cow, the one that eats the grass, and the cow, the one that is eaten by the human being. So this is just a simple sequence of the consumption of the food, where the these the grass are the producers, whereby the cow is the primary consumer and the human being is the secondary consumer. So there you have it. That's the first diagrammatic representation of the food chain. The second one is this one, whereby the produces the phytoplankton. This is the first uh, organism here. The producer, then comes the primary consumer, that is the fish that is eaten by the this bird. Take an example, eagle. So here is the other example, the food chain, and they can be shown as follows. Food chain example. The first one that we said, the grass eaten by the cow, then cow eaten by the human being. And the second one, that is the plankton eaten by the fish eaten by the bird. So there you have it. These are just two of the examples of the food chains. Moving on, let's see the diagrammatic representation of the food web. Here is the diagrammatic representation of the food web. We said the food web is just the group of various food chains that are grouped together. So as you can see here, there's this food chain, the first food chain and the second food chain. Now, when they gather together, they form this food web. And here are the producers, maize and the stack borer. These are the two producers. And here we have the primary consumers, whereby mouse eats the maize, and here the salamander eats the stack borer, and the snake eats these two, the mouse and the salamander. And the snake is the one that is consumed or eaten by the bird. Take an example, the eagle. So here you have the example of the diagrammatic representation of the food web. So of these two are clear, the diagrammatic representation of the food chain and the food web. Moving on. Now let's see the significance of the food chain and the food web in real life situations. So here we're going to see the importance of how the food chain and the food web are shown in real life situation. Starting that the following is the significance of this the food chain and the food web. The first one, that the food chains and the webs, yes, they help in the flow of the energy from the producers to the consumers, and from one trophic level to the another, without which energy flow would be impossible. So this food web and the food chain, they help to enable the energy flow among the organisms, since we've seen that it enables the flow of energy from the producers, which are mainly these plants, to consumers, or and from one trophic level to another. So in a way that it enables the flow of energy. The other one is that the food chain studies have had an important role in the ecotoxicology studies, tracing pathways and the biomagnifications of the environmental contaminations. Here we're talking about the ecotoxicology. Here we're talking about the study of various toxins that it can be uh, pointed out in the ecosystems. So the food chain studies have just helped they've played an important role in these studies of the toxics that can be altered to the ecology, tracing how it is done by tracing the pathways and the biomagnifications of the environmental contaminations. And hereby we get those toxins or the contaminants of the environment. of the sphere. The other one that learning how the food chain works, it enables to understand and it helps to understand the importance living organisms that make up the food chain and how the ecology is balanced. So the study of food chain and these food webs, yes, it enables us to clearly understand and identify the important living organisms which we have in our environment that make up the various food chains, and in this way, how the ecology is balanced. Now, this is crucial since any interruptions in the food chain could lead to ecosystem imbalance, and the ecosystem imbalance can lead to various effects directly to the organisms in the environment. The other is that food chains and the food webs show the flow of the energy through an ecosystem. So this is the other significance of the food chain and the food web. They show the flow of the energy uh, through in an ecosystem. So without these food chains and the food webs, we couldn't know the energy flow, how it happens through the organisms in the ecosystem. The other one is that understanding the effect of the polluting the natural environment enables us to avoid or controlling the environmental pollution so as to maintain natural ecosystems. So this is the other significance of the food chain and the food webs, whereby it helps us to understand the effect of polluting the natural environment, as in such that it enables us to avoid or also to control the environmental pollutions, which if they can have high impact in the ecosystem balance. Yes, so as to maintain the natural ecosystem. So that's all clear. We've discussed the grammatic representation of the food chains and the food web. That's all clear. We've discussed the diagrammatic representation of the food chain and later on the food web. And we've covered the various significances of the food chains and the food web in our daily life or in our real life situations. That's all clear. Thank you.